working with that union. So that's going to be dictated, quite frankly, by what our members' needs are, and by meeting with those members and determining what their needs are, just as we do all over the country. There's not, we're not a top-down union. We're not going to say to them, this is how you're going to bargain, this is what the results are going to be. We're going to determine that as we are now, as we're building some unity among those members.
Okay, response from Sandy Pope.
I don't think that you care about what the members think on this. Look at what happened with the United Airlines mechanics in California. You split them up into two groups from one local and by their last name, so that one group is in Northern California, another group is in Southern California when these people want to be together. But it looks like maybe this was a gift to the different locals. I'm not really sure. But I believe that we really need to talk to the members about what they see as important, and the airline division has a lot of issues like that need to be examined.
Fred Jaguar.
I believe in talking to the members too, is with regards to getting their suggestions, their ideas, and what do they want. This is their union, not Jim Hoffa's union. But I want to go back to what Ken Hall said earlier about with regards to the public sector and me being out on the West Coast out there, is that we were able to get 2 charter planes to come from the West Coast to support us in our efforts on protesting the anti-union legislation that was in Wisconsin. What did Jim Hoffa do? He knew I was out of town. He jumped into a car, went to Wisconsin for a 2-hour photo op, and he hasn't been back since. Now give me a break. That's not leadership. That's taking advantage of a media stunt.
Okay. Okay, question, and this is actually the final question, and after the response and the 2 responses to the response, we're going to go to closing statement, just in case you think you've been up there forever. Final question comes from me, and it goes to Fred Jaguar. A couple of days ago, President Hoffa was at a rally in Detroit with President Obama, where everyone seemed to be chanting 4 more years. At the same time, the Teamsters have a lawsuit against the Obama administration about Mexican trucks. And the labor movement generally has expressed some level of ambivalence about President Obama and levels of support as well. So what's your assessment of President Obama, and how much should the Teamsters do in the next election campaign to ensure his re-election?
Well, I think we ought to take a strong stance, because Obama's administration did not get us EFCA, card check. He reopened up the borders in Mexico, letting the trucks come in, take our members' jobs away. And they haven't helped us out with the consent decree. That's why myself and 50 members from around the country filed a lawsuit to get rid of the consent decree. I mean, there have been some things that the Obama administration has worked with us, but we got to start getting something from these politicians. All we're doing is pouring money down the drain, and everybody's at our doorstep. I think the PAC money should be controlled more so by the states. Give the states more juice for the bang of their buck, because they're the ones who know who their congressional leaders are, their Senate leaders are. They're the ones who get the feedback about the president's positions on certain issues and that. But I think that if we continue to go down the path that we're going, I mean, we've had the majority of the Senate and the majority of the House the first 2 years of his administration. What did we get out of it? I mean, we keep going back and forth with all this fighting, and I just think that he's got to deliver and give us something before we commit so much this go-around. We don't know what's going to happen in 2012. We don't know if there's going to be a candidate against Obama in 2012.
You mean in the Democratic?
In a Democratic side.
Okay. Sandy Pope, the Teamsters and President Obama.
The inside the Beltway and professional lobbying approach of the Hoffa administration has totally failed us. And it's very late now to be looking to see what we can do when he's going to be giving, Obama's going to be giving a big speech on jobs tomorrow, and now people are saying there's almost nothing that he can do. 2 years ago, I proposed at a national meeting that we have a march in Washington, that we bring our members down there demanding jobs, the infrastructure spending, demanding support for our pensions, and we were and a lot of officers supported it because our members were clamoring for some action, and we were told to back off by the lobbyists that control our political action department. And no, it's too, it's too soon. We should leave them alone to figure something out. And look at what's happened now.
Okay. And Ken Hall, the Teamsters and President Obama.
And Sandy, you're giving us advice when you have two people participating in our political action fund. And Fred, you want more control of the PACs in the local areas. You have control of your joint council PAC. You have $130,000 in it. The biggest fight in the country was Wisconsin. You didn't give a penny even to a former Teamster who was running for Senate in the re-election. Not a penny. So we can't go there. In terms of Obama, I guess my question to our opponents is, who is your choice? Is it Michelle Bachmann? Is it Mitt Romney, who just came out this week and said part of the problem is these labor unions? The fact is, we need to do what Jim Hoffa is doing right now, and that is talk to the president and say to him, stop negotiating with people who don't care about working people, draw a line in the sand and do the right thing, and let's continue with some of the success like we've gotten just recently with the NLRB decisions.
Okay, we are now moving into our closing statements, and as a result of the drawing of lots or whatever they drew at before the debate began, the order of statements has Sandy Pope first, Ken Hall second, and Fred Jaguar third. Each candidate can speak for up to 2 minutes, and we begin with Sandy Pope.
Okay, thank you. Tonight we got to debate some of the serious issues facing Teamster members and our union, and I thank you for that opportunity for our members to hear it. Hoffa sent Ken Hall to put a new face on his failed administration, but it was the same old empty talk and excuses. I'm still very disappointed that Jim Hoffa didn't show up, especially because of the critical issues facing our union. Fred Jaguar was a member of the Hoffa administration for 13 years. He went along with Hoffa's disastrous policies, including in the Central States. It comes down to this. If you're happy with what's happening in our union, vote for one of my opponents, because I am not about more of the same. I started as a Teamster in 1978 when Teamster power meant something. I cut my teeth on picket lines and organizing drives, and I worked my way up through the ranks. As an international union representative and local union president, I've taken on some of the biggest multinational corporations, bargained strong contracts, and organized the non-union competition, even with a small local. Our small local is small, but we fight big. I also know how to win. I've taken on Mayor Bloomberg. I've taken on CNS Wholesale. I was the first person to get a union contract with CNS Wholesale, the biggest grocery distributor. Now Hoffa's allowed CNS to move thousands of Teamster jobs out that have gone non-union. Our contracts have been gutted with CNS. We had a neutrality agreement that I negotiated that he let expire. So as Teamster General President, I'm going to set our union on a new course, building on our strongest traditions, but making a decisive break with the Hoffa years. If you're a Teamster who believes our union needs a new direction, then I'm asking for your support. Visit my website at sandypope2011.org. Get information and spread the word to Teamster members. This is a grassroots effort. This is the members' effort, and I need your help. So this is about our union and about our future. Thank you.
Thank you. The next closing statement comes from Ken Hall.
Our members have many issues that are important to them, but none are more important than pensions and health care. And after watching this debate tonight, on the one hand, we have a candidate who, according to the records that she has submitted to by herself to the Department of Labor, has bankrupted her local union treasury, bankrupted her pension plan, bankrupted her health care plan, never negotiated a national contract, and has no slate to support her. The question for our members, and when she talks about CNS, she forgot to tell you about Kroger and her and Tom Leadham and how they negotiated that wonderful national contract that within 3 years, 80% of our members were working for subcontractors. So the real question is, do you want someone with that track record to be responsible for protecting your pensions, or responsible for protecting your health care? Or do you want them to be the person that's in charge of your strike fund? Because it's that financial mess that got us into the situation before where we had no strike fund. And quite frankly, those who know us best is our own local union members. Sandy's members voted her in office by 66 mere votes last year, and they know her best. On the other hand, we have a slate that's made up of inexperienced candidates who have no strategy, no plan, and no vision for this union. It's led by Fred Giguere, the first chairman in the history of the Central States to slash members' pensions. His running mate, Fred Zuckerman, who Fred plans to put in charge of UPS, cut a deal with UPS to convert 8-hour full-time jobs to 6-hour jobs with reduced pensions. And then, when we tried to help him with these 22-3 jobs, found he didn't file a grievance because he wanted to blame the International more than he wanted to help his members. And Fred's running mate, Brad Slauson, who will be running the freight division, he negotiated a contract with DHL, a company much larger and with much more money than UPS, where the independent contractors who were package drivers made $12 to $14 an hour with no pension benefit and no dependent health care unless they paid for the full amount.
Ken, we're hitting time. Okay. Thank you. And the final closing statement, okay. Okay, the final closing statement comes from Fred Giguere.
Well, I want to thank the panel for their expertise and the questions that you submitted to the panel tonight here. But let's talk about leadership and let's talk about commitment to this organization. Nobody can boast about the Giguere-Scheer slate commitment to this organization. It's the most diversified board that's going to be elected in the history of this organization. But let's go down and talk about the issues here. What we didn't talk about tonight, we didn't have a chance. If you're a UPS worker, why are you losing 90% of your grievances under the Hoffa Hall administration? If you're a UPS worker, are you forcing your agreements under 22.3, 9.5? What is the deal with UPS getting their way all the time with regards to the collective bargaining agreement? And why do the members at UPS, when they go to these grievance panels, get chastised by the union officials that are supposed to be representing them? Under my watch, I'm going to fire all of those people because it ain't right to chew out a member in front of management and downgrade them. The other thing we got to talk about is under my administration is that we're going to organize in the core industry. And the core industry is going to be our top priority. But I'm going to ask for the members' help, not for outside consultants. This is an act of crime that Hoffa is not here. Jim Hoffa's been running from you for years, 12 years, matter of fact. Why ain't here debating the issues and answering the hard questions? I'll tell you why. Jim Hoffa don't have the answers. He listens to outsiders and consultants. Look at Ken Hall's sweat up here tonight. He's sweating so bad that I'm ready to get him a towel. He knows he's in a fight because the members are upset out there. They're mad. And you talk about Kroger with Fred Zuckerman. Talk about how they screwed 600 people at Kroger in Louisville, Kentucky. That's what you should be talking about. Thank you very much. Vote the Giguere-Scheer slate. Thank you.
And I want to thank my fellow panelists, Michelle Amber, Ryan Grimm. I want to remind everyone watching this that the ballots are going to be mailed out on October 6th. It's your union. You can decide who runs it, so you'll be getting the ballots in the mail. Do something about it. And I want to thank all three candidates who have joined us here tonight. Thank you very much.